series. For the second part of the story, the river that went to the sky. Last part we talked about before the river went to the sky. In this part we are going to talk about after the river went to the sky, what happened? Let's listen together to know.
When the animals gathered, they too talked for days and days. "This is a serious matter," said Elephant. "It is time to migrate to faraway places," said Rhino. Saying so, he put down his head and followed his nose south. South, south, always south. That started the exodus, and animals wandered in all directions. Great gorilla and brainy chimpanzee, feeling that they did not want to go too far, simply went into the jungle. Tree pangolin, leopard, gammon viper, and royal antelope did the same.
In this part, as we said, we can see together the animals' reaction. When the animals gathered, they talk for days and days. Some animals, as I said here, it is time to migrate, it's time to leave to far away places. Who said Rhino? Saying so, he put down his head and followed his nose south, south, south. And he said always south. That started the exodus, and the animals wandered in all directions. Great gorilla, what they decided to do, great gorilla and tiny chimpanzee, feeling that they did not want to go too far. Why? Simply went into the jungle. They can depend on the trees that gather together. Okay? They can live in this place. Tree Bangonian, leopard, Gabon viper, and royal antelope did the same. They also live where? In the jungle. Let's complete listening. So we can highlight for this paragraph.
Elephant led a whole delegation south, following the rhinoceros. Buffalo, lion, giraffe, gazelle, hyena, zebra, cheetah, and many others wandered south and roamed the grasslands. But rock-climbing Barbary sheep, camel, addax, sandcat, desert hedgehog, fennec fox, jerboa, sand grouse, and many others remained exactly where they were. Meanwhile, the sun had gathered all its strength. It sent its hottest rays to heat the river, and slowly, oh so slowly, you could not see what was happening. The river started to lift in particles too tiny for the eye to see.
For the rest of the animals, as we said here, that elephant played a whole delegation south following the rhinoceros, buffalo, lion, giraffe, gazelle, hyena, zebra, cheetah, and many others wandered south and roamed the grassland. So most of them live where they live. For the elephant and rhino, and the rest of these animals decided to migrate because they depend on the water. But rock climbing, barbary, sheep, camel, addax, sandcat, these animals can live where? In the desert, so they don't need for much water, so they can depend on little water. Can I write for this paragraph? In second paragraph here, this paragraph explains the process of evaporation and what the shape that the river took when it went to the sky. Let's listen together.
Up they went until they were so high that it felt cold. Then the tiny particles of the river huddled together and formed white, fluffy clouds of all sizes. They were so happy to be floating in the air, and they waited in excitement for the spectacle of the night sky when they would walk among the many winking stars. Sure enough, in the evening, The night sky prepared to lay out the best winking stars for the visiting clouds to walk among. And as it got darker, the stars winked and twinkled and sparkled.
For this paragraph, he said, meanwhile, the sun had gathered all its strength. Why? To carry or to help the river to go up to the sky. It sent its hottest rays to heat the river, as I told you, by the process of evaporation, and slowly, oh so slowly you could not see what was happening. What happened? The river started to lift in particles, small drops of water, so high that it felt cold. Then the tiny particles, what happened on the river, huddled together, collected together, and formed white fluffy clouds. So if I ask a question here, what was the river, or what was the shape that the river took when it went to the sky? You can say it took the shape of what? White fluffy clouds. Let's move for the next paragraph or the next lesson for the rest of this page.
Oh, isn't this wonderful, said a cloud. Simply stupendous. Whoosh! A gust of wind came in. You're sitting on my bit of sky ledge, the wind said. Oh, I beg your pardon, said the cloud, and she moved over to one side. Whoosh! Gusts of wind came over and over again, here and everywhere. They claimed parts of the sky where the clouds were. Sometimes they came while the clouds were trying to get some sleep, and they would shake them awake and push them over. Now, pushing and shoving is about the only thing that the gentle river would not stand. And all the clouds remembered the peaceful days of being watered down on earth. They remembered the gentle flow in one direction and the gliding back of the tide, and a small cloud said, I want to go home.
In this paragraph, Wise River decided to go back to his home. As we said before, the river was annoyed by the wind. By pushing, he said. Now pushing and shoving is about the only thing that the gentle river would not stand, would not complete. And all the clouds remember the peaceful days of being weighed down. Before they became as clouds, they left what they left in a peace. They left what they left here, as I said. They remember the peaceful days of being weighed down on earth. They remember the gentle flow in one direction and the gliding back of the tide and the small cloud. So the river said, what? I want to go home. Why? Because he was annoyed by the wind. So we can highlight for this paragraph. Let's move to the last page that we have in this story. The last page that we have here. Let's listen together.
Yes, they all wanted to go home. But how? The wind, so quick at picking up conversations, snapped up the news of the clouds trying to go home, and it gathered all its sisters, cousins, and brothers. Whoosh! They carried the clouds high and made them feel colder, and as the clouds huddled together, they grew heavy and began to fall as rain. Down below, the sun was still burning out any manner of moisture that remained in the riverbed. But it rained. It rained all day long and all night long. It rained everywhere, but never in the old riverbed. It rained in Abyssinia and formed the Blue Nile. It rained and formed the White Nile, and Lake Victoria, and Lake Tanganyika, and Lake Malawi, and Lake Chad, Lake Turkana, and many small lakes besides. It rained and formed the Shire River. It rained and formed the Zambezi. It rained some more, and the Limpopo, the Orange, the Niger, the Luangwa, and many other rivers were born. It rained heavily and lightly, day and night. And if you put your hands over your ears and move them on and off, you could hear something like a song, but not quite a song. Something like words, but not quite like words. I am the river that went to the sky for a walk. I am the river that went to the sky for a walk. It rained and rained everywhere, but never in the place where the river once lived. If any of the drops ventured anywhere near that place, the sun bore down on them and sent them back into the sky. And it is true. If you go to the great continent of Africa today, you will see the vast expanse of sand where the meandering river lived. Sand everywhere, even in places where grass had been plenty. To this day, the wildebeest have not stopped running away from the sun, following their noses to wetter places where the grass would be as it used to be once upon a time, a long time ago, on the great continent of Africa.
So at the end of this story, as we said, when the river became as a cloud, he asked him to go back to his place because he was annoyed by the wind. So what the cloud do? He said what the wind do? He said the wind carries the clouds high and made them feel colder. And as the clouds huddled together, collected together, they grew heavy and began to fall as rain down below. The sun was still burning out any manner of moisture. So this process is called what? The process of condensation. Because here, as we said here, the steam changed into water. The object happened in this part. At first, when the river wanted to go to the sky, he go to the sky by the process of what? Of evaporation. But when he asked him to return back to the earth, he returned through the process of condensation. Okay, that's our story that we have in this part. You are required to highlight for this part. But if I ask a question here, what is the setting of this story? As we said, as we listen for this part, we can find that many rivers that are formed in Africa. So the setting of this story were, yes, in the continent of Africa. Now let's move for some question about this story to end this part. Pay attention to me. The first question that we have, what were the different reactions of the animals to the news that the river would go to the sky? Is, as we said, some animals decided to live like the elephant and rhino. Some animals decided to stay in the jungles like gorilla and chimpanzee. Some animals stayed in the place or stayed in the desert like camel and sand cat. Another question. What was the shape that the river took when he went to the sky? We said it took the shape of what? Of white fluffy clouds. Another question that we have. Who annoyed the river in the sky? What was the river's reaction? We said the river was annoyed by the wind after the river took the shape of the cloud. The wind started to push him. All the clouds collected together, so they became heavy and they began to fall as what? As rain, and we said it formed many rivers in Africa. What is the theme of this story? After we read this part, this story, we understood that before you take any decision, you must think well. As the river, he didn't think well. At first, he saw the twinkling eyes of the stars and he wished to go to the sky without thinking. But when he go up to the sky, he suffered by the wind. He was annoyed. So he asked him to go back to the earth. So if I said, what is the theme of this story? We can say, think carefully before taking a decision. Thank you for listening and goodbye.